It's not something that we're doing. But hey, if they're going to offer up a way to support our organization, let's go for it. But before we go to all of that, let's go to what many of you are probably here for tonight. Let's get right into the interview because we only have him for a few wonderful minutes. Here we go. Jared, how are we doing this evening?
Good, guys. How are you?
Doing all right. So you're coming to DuQuoin, Illinois, to the Miracle Mile. What can you tell us about DuQuoin? Have you raced there before?
Yeah, I have. I raced there. Well, the last time we raced there, I think it was 2015. And man, it's probably one of the most fun mile tracks that we will race at in our entire lifetime, honestly. Um, just really awesome the way we can ride hard through the corners and really fan out and not really much follow the leader in the corners. And then we do the drafting down the straightaways. So it's a really fun mile as a rider and a really cool mile to watch as a spectator for sure.
Now, you are a six-time Grand National Champion, is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, that's a lot of wins. Just exactly how many wins do you have out there?
I think I'm at 54 or 55.
Yeah, I kind of got a feeling for your number of wins when there's a T-shirt out there that says "Anybody but Mees." Is that right? You familiar with this?
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar with it.
That kind of cracks me up. You got to love that kind of rivalry. Who's one of the riders out there that you bang handlebars with the most? You think these days?
I'd probably say the guy who has the number one plate, Briar Bauman, who's also a teammate of mine. He's been really strong the last couple years for sure, and this year, um, Brandon Robinson's been running pretty strong, and Jared Van I mean, they're all tough week in and week out, that's for sure. But I'd say over the last couple years, Briar's been the guy.
That's interesting to hear. Now you have a nickname from what I've seen and read, and from what I hear from other fans. Several of our ABATE members are big fans of flat track racing. That nickname is the Jammer. Is that right?
That's it.
All right. How did you end up with the name the Jammer?
Years ago, there was an announcer named Donnie Bargeman. He passed away, unfortunately, I think around 3 or 4 years ago now. And he was just a legendary announcer, man. He was so good at what he did, and he was just so good at just letting it flow. And he was good at giving nicknames. He gave a lot of good nicknames to a lot of really good riders. And jamming Jared Mees, I guess, just fit for him, and that's the way it was, And he was, like I said, he was good at just putting the nicknames with the riders, and it stood out for a lot of years to come.
All right. Well, that's very good to hear. Now, in addition to the American flat track racing, you're a two-time gold medalist with the X Games, from what I hear.
Yeah, I've got 2 gold and 1 silver.
What events were those?
Um, the one was in Austin, Texas, and then the other two that I won was in, or the other two that I medaled in was in Minneapolis. Both 1 gold, 1 silver was in Minneapolis.
There you go. Now, you're not the only racer in your family, are you?
No, my wife used to race and retired in 2015. Um, on a twin cylinder motorcycle like what we race now at the top level. She was probably, arguably the best, or definitely one of the best that ever threw a leg on a twin for sure. And she won some heat races out there and sat on some front rows for some main events. Unfortunately, never got on that podium, but I think her best finish was like a sixth or a seventh. So she was definitely solid for sure.
And I mean, she's done pretty well. If I see right, she's Grand Marshal for an upcoming race, or maybe a race that just passed.
Yeah, probably the one of the biggest legendary races on the circuit right now, the Sacramento Mile. I believe it's the second weekend of September. She's going to be the Grand Marshal out there. We have a double header Saturday and Sunday, so looking forward to not only racing it, but seeing the wife get out there and maybe let her ride one of my backup bikes or something, make some laps on it, and give her back a taste of what racing's all about.
Oh, that's a good thing. I mean, it's amazing to see how many women riders have joined into not only the racing aspect, but obviously street riding is exploding big with it. So I thought that was kind of interesting that both you and your wife are both racers, and thought that was something worth bringing up. The other thing that I absolutely have to bring up, I'm not doing my job if I don't. I'm a Springfield boy. That's where I reside at, right here in Springfield, Illinois. Our vaunted Springfield Mile versus the lowly DuQuoin Mile that's 3 hours south of us. How do the two tracks compare?
The material, the surface of the material there is is very similar. It's clayish material. I think DuQuoin seems like it might have a little bit touch more sand in it. Um, but as far as the shape goes, they seem to be like, a little bit different. DuQuoin seems to have longer straightaways, tighter corners, but maybe a little bit more banked. And then the Springfield Miles got heck, I bet you the corners are almost as long as the straightaways are. Really, I think it's a pretty symmetrical mile, so to speak. So, and it's a little bit flatter. But I mean, DuQuoin's probably a little bit more fun to ride. Maybe I'm saying that just because I don't get to ride it a lot. Springfield, we've been riding it 2 times a year since the start of my career. But I mean, the most legendary is for sure the Springfield Mile. I mean, it's probably the biggest race of the year, or considered to be. So, I think we go around and we call the Springfield Mile our Daytona 500. So, that being said, I am looking forward to racing the DuQuoin Mile. When we left there in 2015, I was like, I hope we come back next year. And it hasn't been on the circuit for the last 6, 7 years. So, like I said, I'm really looking forward to going back to the DuQuoin Mile and letting it hang out for sure.
That's awesome. And yeah, that is really important. So the races are this Saturday, right?
Yeah, this Saturday, and then I believe during the week, like leading up to the DuQuoin Mile, and even past the DuQuoin Mile, so like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is also the amateur national the Grand Nationals for the amateurs, which is the biggest week for an amateur flat track kid or family. So it's pretty important too. So if you guys wanted to come out, watch the DuQuoin Mile on Saturday. There's also a race, I believe, Sunday too to check out. So it should be really good.
So it's a full weekend of racing. They can come down, support the pros on Saturday, then watch the amateurs achieve their dreams the next few days after that. And I actually know, I believe there's antique classes going on tomorrow down there as well. The old Harley XG 750s going around the track, a few of those running around and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it should be.
Yep. And you race obviously Indian with most of your teammates. What team? What team is that you're with these time around?
I'm with the Indian motorcycle team. We're backed by Progressive Insurance, and then I've also got some really good, personal sponsors as well. Rogers Racing, Twig Cycles, Monster Energy Drink, Corbin Seats, Service Pro. So I've got a lot of really good sponsors on my side as well. SDI Racing, Arcade Chain, a lot of people that contribute to the program for sure.
I don't know if you were aware, but one of our state representatives here in Illinois is also a team owner or part owner in a team down with AFT. Dan Calkins.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know Dan.
Yeah, he's state representative here in Illinois. It's kind of cool having a state rep that's part of the flat track history. The one thing I wanted to catch before you left us here, obviously we're going to recap the event here in a minute, but you are also a promoter in addition to a racer, and so I just kind of wanted to ask you, how do you feel that flat track is doing these days? Do you feel that it's re-energized, or I mean, how's it looking?
Yeah, definitely. In 2017, we had, basically what we call the rebirth of flat track, and lots of rules were changed. And, Indian Motorcycle came aboard in the series. And, I think with Indian's presence, it really drug a lot of new fans and a lot of new interest in the sport. So it's been really good. The sport's been doing well. Of course, COVID screwed not only our sport up, but it seemed like it screwed everything up, right?
Oh yeah.
But so far things have been good, and I don't think anybody's, done trying to make the sport better. I still feel like we have a long way to go, and or a lot of room to improve, I should say. But the guys down there at AFT are working really, really hard, and Jim France, who owns the series with NASCAR, is really enthused about the sport. So we always got to give him a shout out and say thank you to him, because without him, things would be a lot tougher. So, like I said, looking forward to the DuQuoin Mile for sure. Then we go to Port Royal the next weekend, and I think about 6-7 weeks we'll be in your hometown there, the Springfield Mile. So looking forward to that too.
Labor Day weekend, we have the doubleheader here in Springfield. But Jared, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Anything last words that you want to get in, let our people know for this weekend, or anything in general?
No, just come out, get your ticket ahead of time. As a promoter of the series, promoting's a tough game, and we need all the fans' support to come out and watch the event, and participate in it, and buy a T-shirt, buy a couple beers, just always support the event. And like I said, I said it numerous times, but I'm serious. I'm really looking forward to the DuQuoin Mile. The weather looks like it's going to be really good, and so come out, have a good time.
All righty, Jared, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks to Track Enterprises for hooking us up with this interview. Good luck this weekend, and congrats on recovering from your injuries, buddy.
Thank you very much. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So there you have it. Jared Mees, American Flat Track Racing. I gotta tell you, that's awesome for me. He's actually one of the racers that I somewhat follow. I got introduced to flat track racing 3-4 years ago at Springfield, and can't believe that I'd been missing out on that for all these years. Watching them 100 miles an hour sliding into the corners, handlebar to handlebar, inches away from each other. It's astounding. If you've never been to one of these races, if you've never been down to DuQuoin, I cannot strongly recommend this enough. DuQuoin is a very interesting facility. It's the state fairgrounds. It's very classic looking, but yet modern at the same time. So get your butts out this weekend. Go support motorcycle racing in Illinois. I may even try to make it down there myself Saturday night. Don't know yet. I've got some other obligations going on, but hopefully we'll see you there. I know that Mike Gallagher with St. Clair chapter will be down there. A.B.A.T.E of Illinois will have a banner on the track, or near the track at least. So good things abound. Thank you for all of that. Now, moving on to the next thing.